Resident Mexican.
All right, welcome back to the Pumpernickel podcast.
Pumpernickel!
We back for another week. The same old usual. It's Elvin.
Black Mike.
Eddie, resident Mexican American.
There it is.
Nathaniel.
And our guest of honor, White Mike, will be in every now and then, but he may not be on very often on the podcast. But we shout out him anyway because he's still the homie.
Yep, still part of the squad.
Still part of the squad.
Yeah.
Part of the squad.
So we're gonna pop it off with a little Eduardo Sanchez.
Yeah,
Adventure from earlier today.
Adventure from earlier today. So after work, I felt I needed more spice in my life.
Right.
And
being a Mexican American, I always need a little additional
right,
spice.
you always need to spice things up
Right.
in the bedroom. No.
Oh, jeez.
But
You hear the guitar hit playing in the background.
no, I decided to go after work to this country specialty store, right? And they have all like preservatives, like canned peaches and all this kind of
like
country.
homemade type stuff.
Yeah, like apple bread and shit. What's this? Boiled peanuts.
All right.
White people food.
Right, white people food. And then they have a shelf dedicated to hot sauce, aka salsa.
There it is. Yeah.
Mexican version of salsa.
And there's one that's the Carolina Reaper sauce. Carolina Reaper, basically 3 times spicier than habanero pepper.
Right.
And it did not disappoint.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was pretty good.
I mean, Reaper Sling Blade is a little aggressive for a hot sauce name.
True.
It's about right.
Yeah.
This is not stuff you slather on a burrito.
Right. It's like
I
that joke
was
about
eating
like,
it with like drops of it.
Yeah.
Not
It's like that joke about like tornado names. Like if you name it like Daisy and stuff like that, like people like well, have a problem with. But if you name it like Murder Machine or some shit like that, people will be like, you know what? I should stay away from this one. It's the same thing with hot sauce.
War Machine Rocks, all caps.
Name your hot sauce Bleach.
It just actually is bleach.
Yeah, it's just like tongue bleach.
It's just cleaning you out is what it's doing.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I'm the one who finds this odd. This hot sauce, which is, I will agree, is super hot, was made in Ohio.
That's a little unexpected.
Yeah, that's not where I expected that to come from.
Well, they probably ship up all these peppers up to Ohio.
Right, that's true, yeah, because it may not be grown there, but it might just be made there.
Yeah.
Is that like where all the hot sauces are made? Is Ohio?
What
else is
I'll be
Ohio
honest,
do?
it's unexpected. I expect that hot sauce to come from Texas or New Mexico, to be honest.
Yeah.
Somewhat dry.
Somewhere dry.
And angry.
Where the tumbleweed still roll.
Oh, come on. Well, let's get into the great part of this hot sauce. Not only does it contain the Carolina Reaper, it also contains what may be the funniest name for a pepper of all time, the Bhut Jalokia.
Bhut
The
Jalokia.
Bhut Jalokia.
Pardon me, Bhut.
Bhut Jalokia.
So it's BHUT,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
Bahut.
Bhut.
Hey,
Pizza Bahut.
everybody wants a little butt in their life, right?
Alright, that's a little nasty. Alright, there are children listening to this podcast.
I think Mike's
Are
going
there?
to open a strip club named Pizza Bahut.
yeah, I really would actually open a strip club named Pizza Hut and put it right next to a Pizza Hut.
Bhut.
Oh my god, the franchise rights alone.
Oh man, that's a fist
That's
fight.
a
That's
kind
like a racetrack across from the QT. It's time to scrap.
And pop it right next to Follies.
Oh, dirty. Dirty.
Oh my god.
The clientele.
The pizza there would be lit though.
Yeah.
It would. Well, it'd be very dark in there. It's like, I don't know. Would you get
Strip
pizza
club
at a
pizza?
strip club? It's got the brick burner in the background. It's just glowing in the back while these girls are on top.
I'll be honest.
Some sugar on me.
She slides around the pole, burns her hands, falls off stage. Bitch, it's the third time this week.
Dude, she's on the stripper pole on the brick oven pizza?
Yes.
Damn.
Hey, listen, we ain't got that much space in this establishment. You better make it work.
That's too hardcore.
Yeah. She got oven mitts on the pole.
Damn. We're nothing but oven mitts and a, what's the...
An apron?
And
Yeah.
an apron. Kiss the cook. Don't kiss the cook. Tip the cook, please.
Gross.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, it'd be something.
But now that we're on the subject of
Bajalokia.
of strippers, let's get on to the subject of cheerings.
Sheeran?
Like the cheerings.
You make mistakes in life, I guess.
Damn.
Dang, we have to start this podcast.
Started out dark.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Pumpernickel.
No.
This message brought to you by-
Children are mistakes. That's not what I meant to say. Let me clarify that. I'd like to have children one day.
This message brought to you by Trojan Condoms.
Yeah, right. Block those kids off now. Now.
No, like I said, yeah, I'd like to have kids one day.
Yeah, man.
I'm all for kids. I'm just saying, maybe not with a stripper.
That's because you are a...
Whoa. First off, they're like, aren't they called like sex workers now? Or is that only
That's
prostitutes?
worse. That's worse.
Is it only prostitutes or is it anybody that works in like... Well, they don't have sex with you. Strippers don't have sex with you.
No.
So it's
Well,
like, yeah,
regardless-
they are still strippers.
Regardless of what they are, what their professional title is called, they're still people.
strippers.
They're still amazing.
Right.
Oh, no,
And
that's true, that's true.
don't knock them.
Until you try it.
All right, Mike with the PSA.
G.I. Joe.
Everybody's got feelings.
Right.
Damn.
But he's not wrong.
You're not wrong.
But
Yeah,
the PSA is still hilarious.
everybody does deserve love.
Yeah. You wouldn't marry? Sure. I feel like we had this discussion before.
We did.
And I decided, yeah, absolutely. I don't see why I wouldn't.
I think you said you'd marry a porn star.
Yeah.
I said
did say
I
that.
would date a stripper.
If you like the person, like, I don't know if that would necessarily knock me from being with them. You know
It's kind of like buying a used car or buying a rental car.
But I mean, in all fairness, like, if you're not a virgin, everybody's a fucking rental car.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta be on that.
But some are like rental cars that you buy from the from the lot itself, and some are just used cars that one owner had.
To his point, there's a difference between like Cincinnati, Ohio rental car and Tijuana rental car.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, there is definitely a
Grades,
difference in cars, but I mean, like, not necessarily with people per se.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe, but in the same sense, like I think that like because I think I was the only one that decided that I would do the porn star thing. Like I would marry I don't know if I'd marry, but I think I would date or be. I won't even not marry. I think I might, depending on if you like the person or not. Like, and all that means is that she just got more freaking XP, I guess.
yeah.
Like,
It's hard to be like, hey man, your wife wants to see a video of her sucking dick. And it's like,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be-
It'll
you
wear
gotta be-
you.
yeah,
you
you
gotta.
gotta
You have to be iron when people
Yes.
come at you because people will come at you, and they may not
Hard.
even be trying to be rude. They may be 100% like, yo, you know that your girl is a porn star.
Nah, I never found.
I would have
out.
never guessed. The tattoo across her neck that said porn star. I would have never guessed that she was a porn star. But it's just like, I don't know, like maybe find somebody you like. Then you find out later that they were. Would I initially do it? Nah, that's a different story. Maybe not. But if I found out in it, I might do it. You okay?
there was hot sauce on my finger.
Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Woo! We lost some members.
Rest in peace.
Welcome back to the Pumpernickel podcast.
No!
As he dies in the background. But yeah, I mean, going on to what we really, I guess, wanted to emphasize, I think we were having a discussion. Nate actually brought it up about
Oh, God bless America.
as he suffers in the background.
Hey, this sauce is no joke. Like I said, don't
that sauce
don't
hit his
slather it
cornea.
around.
You should
Yeah.
wash your hands, kids.
Yeah, right. It hit his cornea like a crater.
Another PSA: wash your hands.
Yeah, watching him let you touch Carolina Reaper hot sauce. But yeah, now that he's back from the brink of death, I'll let him explain what he wanted to do.
Oh, word. That's not something you want to put in your retinas.
No.
Nah.
Hey,
Oh,
cleans them out.
Fire hot.
Cleanses the systems all over.
Cleanses the eyelid.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how LASIK surgery works.
That's pretty
Hey, it
good.
probably prevents cataracts, am I right?
Yeah.
Nah.
You just put some tomatillo in the eyes.
Tomatillo sauce?
Yeah, some tomatillo sauce.
Tapatio?
Tapatio.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. That was disrespectful.
Yeah,
to
it was
the brand.
disrespectful.
Anyway.
Children. That Nate brought.
Sheeran. So, sort of a complex issue, but the world today is overpopulated. We are sort of increasing and yet decreasing in both common sense and quality of human. So should there be some sort of, for lack of a better term, I don't know, like registration or license or some sort of qualifications for having children?
Right. Like you have to apply to have a kid.
For lack of a better word, yes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily government regulated, but some sort of pre-screen.
I think
That's the best word I can use, is pre-screening.
I can see both sides of the argument, like it being unfair because it's a real invasion of privacy and all that other stuff. But at the same time, when you bring another person in the world, we kind of all have to take care of them. So it's like, if you looked at the earth as like a giant apartment and we all lived in it, like, would you just want somebody bringing in a new roommate randomly? Like, would you be cool?
That's how I'm viewing it.
Yeah, like, would you be cool if somebody just came in and was just like,
I'm sitting on the couch now.
yeah, exactly. I'm on your couch now. Like, and you on the couch. Like, you watching a movie and this dude comes in with his bags and lays on your couch and be like, I live here now and I'm not paying rent. Like, would you be cool with that?
But yeah, I think that it would help you sort of like twofold. It would help sort of regulate the population.
Right.
And sort of aim it in a little bit better direction. The problem is who's going to decide who's aiming.
Right, that's also the issue.
That is
who gets to decide
'Cause you end up like
why
Hitler
you
at
don't
one
get kids. And
traditionally, like I'm not sure, but I think statistically, less educated people tend to have more children.
Which is kind of what it's about.
And it makes sense because in times before automation, before robots helping us, and before this new age that we live in, where the apps provide anything and everything for us, you needed that like workforce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the children were like a cheap source of like
labor.
Right. Eventually, this uneducated family has 5 kids, 3 kids. They are uneducated. They grow up and they get to work in the mines too.
Mm-hmm. It's also kind of lottery ticket too.
Right, and it's just like so. That was good. You needed that work base.
Right.
But the more automation that we have and the less need we have for these people, it gets very complicated.
Yeah, I guess the problem is it ends up looking, kind of like I said before, as A, who sort of does the aiming of the deciding, and B, how do you keep it from becoming like, Hitler's final solution where you're trying to make some master race? Because you want diversity for sure.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you don't want to do like what China did, where it's just like you can only have like one child, and then like you typically only want like
the boy.
You only want the boy or some shit like that, and you end up with like a completely fucked up population.
Yep.
Like you want everybody to like procreate, but like there should be certain things that you like account for it. Like a child is not an inexpensive thing.
No.
Period. So like if you want to bring another human life into the world, like do you have the funds to look after them at least in some capacity?
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of the way it should be.
Right.
Because I mean, like,
force. Go my bad. Go ahead.
No. It's just thinking about that, because I mean, like, a lot of people just have a child, and it's just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna have this child now and figure it out. But if they don't figure it out, then as Nate was saying, like, we all end up just kind of chipping in to keep this child alive.
Right.
Whereas, it would behoove, the person to be able to
behoove.
Back to those flashcard words.
Yeah. My man used behoove.
Look, man, I went to SAT prep just like all the rest of us. So, but yeah, like, if they had the ability to like look after the kid on their own, like it would help out not just the kid, but everyone else as a result.
True. I mean, two issues I guess that I thought of, which one is Nate brought up, is the one that you could be racist and filter out people
Which you don't want.
You could be like, well, this Indian couple can only have 2 kids, but then this white couple can have 4 kids. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
black couple can have 4
you
kids.
shouldn't have a like limiter on
number.
Yeah, like...
Oh, you should most definitely have a limiter. If we're going to do, like, limiters in general, then you would absolutely have a limiter on number.
Well, I mean, like...
Not if you have 2 fit parents who are able to support 6 kids and properly raise them and produce, and this is going to sound really bad, produce a good result, a good product at the end.
No, that's fair. Like, the scary part about where we're going, I guess, too, is that there is a science to this. Like, to a degree there is.
Yes.
Like, there is a understand... Because, like, people don't like to look at themselves as, like, the same as, like, any other animal where you got to kind of populate... You know what I mean? Like, control a population.
You do a deer?
have to.
Yeah.
Because it's like... Yeah, you're right. Like, Eddie was saying, smarter people... Not smarter. Higher educated people tend to have fewer kids.
True.
Which makes sense because there's like a self-awareness that comes with that, which is that, I can't financially support these kids. I can't have 5 kids and I can barely support myself, so I'm not going to have any. As opposed to someone who is lower education, may not necessarily be lower intelligence. Those things don't necessarily mean the same thing. But it's like, you have less access to resources. Sex is more available, but you don't necessarily have the means to protect yourself from, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have anything to take care of if you do end up having a kid or you get pregnant or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a lack of resources and then you never have a kid. And then on top of the issue of that, it's like, what the hell do you do to people that end up having a kid against the policy? You know what I mean? Like, how do you enforce a policy against people having kids?
And you have to be China or Spartan-like.
and just kill a kid? Nah, we ain't never, I mean, knock on wood, we may never get to that, but I don't think we can.
I mean, like, it's like you were saying, we view ourselves as this, like, ultimate fucking being.
Right.
But, we're just another animal. We cull deer herds.
Yeah, we call animal herds all the time. We just don't call ourselves, and we need
and I mean,
Maybe we should.
Yeah, and I agree with that. We should treat ourselves like.
And I mean, to an extent, we do. That's what abortion is.
I mean, yeah, to a degree, but in the same sense, it's like to a degree there. But I feel like there are a lot of people that have kids that should not necessarily have kids. Because it's not even about money necessarily, right? Like it's about mind state. Because a lot of people who are rich today came from poor families.
And a lot of people who are rich not raise a kid properly.
True, and a lot of people exactly, and that's the scary part. Is how do you enforce that, and how do you get enough people to back that? You know what I mean? Because it's like, let's say 1 million people at once are trying to have a kid. How in the fuck do you get enough bureaucracy to take care of that?
No, it's basically impossible, right? I mean, look at taxes and how the government manages things right now is just too slow.
Right, to do it well, not just to do it like it's just like are you sit over 6 foot, or are you if you're over 5 foot to ride this ride, like not like that. If you're doing it based off of the individualness of these people, right? Like how do you do that?
The only thing I can think of, this is just off rip, is if you somehow found a way to make people unable to have children, and then gave them like some sort of genetic code once they qualified for whatever test so let's say you've got the test down correct. You understand correctly how people will function. You can identify somehow a fit parent versus an unfit parent. You make people sort of, for lack of a better word, sterile, but then you have some sort of genetic marker that you can switch.
You can turn on whenever they...
once they fit the bill.
So you can neuter people.
No, you turn off the ability, you turn off the functionality, right? Like on a genetic level, and then you can
You can flip it back on.
Right.
But how do you turn it off on the genetic level?
I'm not a genetic engineer. I don't know.
That's what I agree with you. Like that's a potential solution to it. I mean, albeit you could argue the ethics of that. Like
this whole thing's ethics.
I mean, this whole argument is entirely ethical.
I mean, like the other thing is like, there's a laundry list of things that you have to do in order to be able to adopt a child.
Right.
But
and that's a hard process.
none of that is necessary to have one.
Right.
That's where I'm leaning. Because somebody at work, I didn't cut you off.
Oh no, go for it.
Somebody at work recently adopted a good dad, nice guy. Him and his wife getting along. I think they would be fit parents.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Took him, I think, like a year and a half to adopt a child.
Right.
Already had a kid.
Yeah, and still had to,
And I mean, he was doing like paperwork, took thousands of dollars, had to do all these court visits and all this shit. But if he wanted to have his own kid, all he has to do is not wear a condom that one time and he's good to go.
Right, and then pay whatever doctor fees if he even went to the doctor to get the kid or whatever. And it's like,
even if he went to a doctor, he might just have a kid regular.
Right.
Come out untested, unsure.
I agree with y'all. Like, I think there's an ethical middle ground that you could reach where it's like you have to up the qualification. My idea of going along with what I was saying was that, like, I think that if you incentivize people for qualifying for it, then it would, you know what I mean? Like, instead of trying to knock people for not qualifying, you incentivize people who did qualify. Like, the opposite essentially of what, knock on wood, China did. You know what I mean? Like, where it's, instead of hurting people who went against it, and then because people don't respond very well to that type of stuff. Yeah. But they do respond well to incentives. Like,
hey, you have a kid and you're raising them well. Like here's a tax cut. Here's some financial benefit.
Like $2,000-$3,000 back from your tax return because you're raising your child well.
Well, you do get tax cut as a kid.
You do, but I mean, I just mean even incentivizing it more because you do things.
Hey, like your child goes to public school or whatever, and they got straight A's. And they've gotten straight A's for the past 3 years. You're taking care of your kid and making sure, one, they're still alive, and two, like they're getting an education so that way they can benefit the economy when they grow up. Here's an extra tax incentive or some shit like that on top of that.
Does community service every Wednesday or every third Wednesday of the month. Like, here's an extra couple $100 on your taxes.
He does Habitat. He or she does Habitat for Humanity once a month.
Yeah, it's like shit like that. Like, I mean, potential. There's a lot of options. The issue with that is that one, like, how do you not incentivize, but how do you monitor that without being invasive?
You're going to have to be.
And you're going to have to be invasive. And then, like, there's the issue with all this bureaucracy stuff that we always talk about, or that everybody talks about, is that there's so many wires crossed.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's super difficult to get through.
You talk about being invasive, but, like, we also forget that social media is a thing. People put up what they had for breakfast, what they did when they woke up,
yeah,
all
you're
of their
freely giving this
information.
information,
Yeah, people are freely giving this information.
Yeah.
All you're doing is saying, hey, instead of just like giving the bullshit information that we don't need, give us some additional information that will benefit both you and your family.
I agree with that. There are people that will willingly give their information, but you also have to argue that there are a lot of people who do not use social media that way.
Yeah, I mean,
i.e. most of the people in this room.
Yeah, I don't use social media at all.
Exactly.
But I also
I do Snapchat.
don't want a family like that. Like I do not want kids.
Exactly.
So like,
But if I were to have a kid, or I think I speak for most, if not everyone in this group, if I were to have a kid, it would be properly planned and sort of thought ahead for.
All right, that's
Yeah.
a good question. Out of the guys present here today, who do you think you can properly rear a child today?
Emotionally, yes. Like I financially, no.
Right now, you think you can raise a child emotionally?
I could emotionally raise a child. Like if you were to throw a child in my lap and I had no other choice but to raise this child, I could raise a child emotionally and make. I feel like I have enough to give to a child emotionally to raise them properly in terms of like how to be, like how to act and stuff like that, and like be comfortable in themselves. Because not just confidence. I could instill confidence in a child, but I financially could not support a child right now. I could not.
And that's understanding.
um,
And you understand that's your financial position.
Right.
How about you, Bluntly?
obviously, financially, I don't think any of us could really support a child. So just throwing that right there. But like, I don't think if I had to, I would figure it out. But I don't want that thrust upon me.
I mean, yeah, that's
At
the
all.
point.
I'm
Yeah.
saying if it was right now, it was forced upon you, and you had 9 months to prepare. Right now, do you think you could mentally cope and properly raise a healthy, fully functional, happy kid?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think I could.
I would feel like the first like 8 months, I'd be like freaking the fuck out. But then like,
Oh, that's a given.
yeah, but like once the child is here and it's just like, all right, cool. Like I got to make sure this child is taken care of. Yeah, that's my new life mission. I got to make sure this kid's gonna be all right.
What about you?
I think so. I think if it had to, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if pushed into it, you?
I don't know. I think I'm sort of the opposite.
That's fair.
I think financially I could probably pull it off, but I think emotionally I could teach the kid hard work really well.
Yeah.
And teach them, focus and drive. But emotional stability, I don't know if I could hold it. I could hold it for a while, but I think I would crack.
That's real.
I think I'd last a certain number of years, and eventually I would lose it.
I mean, that's real. Yeah.
Because the one thing that no one really prepares you for one, there's no like guidebook to being a parent, but one thing that like no one really thinks about is the fact that children will just ask you questions that you just aren't prepared for.
True.
Randomly.
Yeah.
You're cooking dinner or something, and your child like walks up and asks you like, does a rhinoceros beetle like fornicate on Wednesdays or some shit like that? You're just sitting there thinking
where that sentence came from.
That was something. Because I used to have dumb shit like that all the time when I was a kid.
And like, and your child is legitimately like invested in this. Like, they saw a rhinoceros beetle on the Discovery Channel, and they're just like, "What is this? Like, I gotta figure out more about this thing." And you're just like, "I don't know." Thankfully now, we have Google, so you can be like, "Give me a second, child," and you can like Google it on your phone and figure it out.
The rhinoceros beetle right before
Watching a YouTube video.
after the mating dance is over.
Right.
You call him child?
Boy.
Whole child.
Not now, boy.
Boy.
But,
Go get down to slippers, boy.
fix that sandwich.
For those of y'all who don't know, it was a God of War game that came out where it was a grown man looking after his kid, and he just called him boy. The entire game.
The entire game, he's boy.
That's impressive.
Like occasionally, like maybe I want to say like 5 to 10% of the game, like he would call him by his real name, but like the rest of the game, he was just boy.
But an overwhelming
But it came from a
majority.
spot of like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
of warmth and fatherly attention.
Right, yeah.
But in all fairness, the whole game was about him not being a good dad, learning how to be a good dad.
Yeah, and he did.
So,
In the end, he mustered through and became a good dude.
yeah, so, but yeah, no, like, children are amazing and terrifying at the same time.
Let's put it this way. I don't think I have the emotional stability to last 3 to 4 hours at a Chuck E. Cheese at a birthday party.
Yeah.
A little kid's birthday party. I don't think I have the stability to not lose it.
Yeah, I can't. I don't have the emotional fortitude or the mental fortitude, I guess I should say, to be around a child.
That crazy.
Not even crazy, just be around a child for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that also depends on like the parent. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of the energy that your kid gets is the energy they get from you.
Yeah.
Or they receive from you on the other end. So
Now,
it's like there's certain things you're just not gonna ask.
You can accept this annoyance.
On that note, I could definitely see that.
Not to be
like,
annoying, but the kid will be annoying.
My mom would babysit every so often, and like she's like super hyperactive, has a bunch of energy, and like the kid that she would babysit was like always like super small and would just feed off of that energy and be like all over the place, crying super loud. And then like randomly she would run off to the corner store and be like, hey, look after this kid for me while I'm going. And I just didn't have a choice but to look after this kid for like 5 minutes. And like I just sat there just calm and chill. It was just like, look, kid, I don't really want to look after you, but here we are. So just don't
go crazy.
Don't go crazy. Please don't make a lot of noise. I don't really know how to address this, so we just gonna sit here and be calm. Yeah. And like the kid was just calm. And then when my mom would come back, she would be like, that's like the quietest this kid's been like all day. And it's like, all right, well, that's cool. You're back now, so I'm free. I'm out. And then the kid would go back to being loud. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, maybe there's some merit to, like, children feeding off the energy you like.
That's true about dogs. Like, if you're, like, always angry as shit around your dog's gonna be angry as shit. But if you're always just sitting around, like, chilling, watching TV, like, mellow, like, walk your dog, just kind of just chilling with it, your dog's gonna be pretty mellow the whole time.
Yeah, it's expectation. Because your dog, like, we always like to think of animals as dumb, but it's like, the dog don't speak human. And we do a lot of shit that's not animal-like.
True.
So, of course, they're not going to understand 90% of what it is you do. All they can understand is what, like, your routine and the way you act. They can't understand anything else.
Yeah. I mean, that's behavioral psychology, though.
Right.
I mean, like, it's like, all right, like, this human's looking after me. I'm gonna be... like, I'm going to conform to how this human behaves. And so if this human sits around for like 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, well, like, I can't be, I mean, I have a bunch of energy. I might be running around, but like my human's not going anywhere and I want to be with my human. So I'm going to sit around and hang out with my human. And if my human's super active, they're running around, like they go jogging, like, you know, every morning or whatever. I'm going to go jogging with them. We're going to be hyperactive. Let's do this. But, you know, if my human's like, you know, throwing a temper tantrum and flinging shit, then, you know, fuck it. That seems to be the thing to do. So
start growling.
I feel like kids are like, we need to start treating kids like they are adults that just don't know anything about anything. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just treating them like this obligation that you have to take care of and it's like you just like fumble around with. It's like treat them like somebody who just literally doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, how does this door open? You know what I mean? Like, it's like stuff like that. It's like, if you communicate with them in a way that is like conducive to like talking to someone around your age.
Yeah.
You know, like with a maturity, they get that, they understand that. And I have family friends who did that with their kids. Like we had a close family friend, at least on my aunt's side, that I know through my aunt, who talked to her kids that way. And like her kids were articulate at the same level as them. They weren't like hyperactive. They just interacted with you as though they were the same age. And you're like, oh crap, this kid's like 8. Like I'm talking to him like he's like my age.
Like when what were we going to say?
I was going to say, I think you just do your best. I think the kid comes out mostly how.
But that's too generic to say, though.
No, I think it's all right because like you could do everything right, and then your kid just ends up being like a complete asshole.
True. I mean that's possible, but I feel like
you lower the percentages if you're.
Oh yeah, no, you can lower the percentages for sure, but like, what's to stop your kid from being like
murderer?
Right.
But I mean,
like
you want to base your decision making off of that, like that's why I say like it's dangerous to be like just do your best. Like no coach is just gonna tell you do your best. Like they're gonna give you like a game plan. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have an idea.
just run out on the court and do your best, Eddie.
The coach gonna be like, yeah, just do your best, and then like throw you out there, or y'all gonna run drills and do behavior.
Get in there,
right? Exactly. Like,
oh man, he broke his own ankles trying to cross that guy up.
That's why I say like it's solid advice. It's that type of advice where everybody agrees, but nobody knows. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, this sounds really good to say, so I'm just gonna do it.
But that's the thing. I think with children, no one really knows.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I agree with that.
No, I think honestly speaking, I don't think anyone really gets it because really, it's just you're just another child raising this small child.
True, we're an adult child.
That's all. That's all.
But I mean,
really
like,
is.
there's
the only difference is that you're more cognizant of your actions,
right?
For the most part.
Yeah, but like, we're not the first child to raise children,
right?
There's been infinite generations of humans like raising other humans.
1,000 years.
So you generally know morally correct things to do, right? Like you know that generally you're not supposed to teach your kid to be a murderer.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like that's all that like those generations have.
But there are people who don't know that.
Right, but what I'm saying is like for the most part, all these human rearings, like they give you the moral blanket.
Yeah.
You know what's green, you know what's red.
Yeah.
But the in between, the middle, the finer points.
Yeah. But it's like throwing a punch, right? Like, or like sports, like taking it back to sports. Like, if you were boxing, they'd be like throw a punch, and you throw a punch. Anyone can throw a punch. They understand the basics of it.
But to actually throw a legitimate jab,
to throw a legitimate jab, there's a lot of articulation and thought into knowing how to do that properly. It's the same like with anything. I guess with one thing, know many things. That type of behavior. Like it's like when you go from one thing. I mean, you've never heard that said?
How much change is in your pocket?
Oh, I didn't even know. It's my keys. My keys are.
Oh, I was about to say, my man Jingle Bells over here.
Yeah, my bad. But
$45
picking up pennies on the ground.
Yeah, I'm going to Follies later, boys. I'm throwing coins at the lady.
Making a hail?
Yeah, but I think that with that same type of idea, like there's an articulation to what it is you do. Like the way you behave around your kids could be articulated up to that degree. Like I'm gonna do this and this. Like when he comes at me with this energy, I'm going to respond this way. I'm going to do, you know what I mean? Like, you could be very cognizant. Like, even, I shout out my mom all the time on this podcast, but going back to, like, her specifically, it's the same type of thing. It's like, there's certain ways you interact with your kids that they don't even think about when they interact with you that carries on with them even after they leave your house.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing.
You're trying to score mom points.
Ain't nobody trying to score mom points.
No, but they're just like blink.
Mama, I love you.
Blink.
I love you, mama.
But,
Sorry,
kids are just blinks. Like
right.
I said, you do, like what I meant by do your best, like those finer points. That's what you do.
Right.
Because all you know how to do is just to all you can show your kids what you know.
Right.
I think that.
Oh, go ahead, my bad.
I think that. So we've definitely defined the black and the white. You know, murderer, non-murderer.
Right. And those things are easy.
You know, the super clear ones are easy.
Right.
The finer points where it's the grayscale gets difficult. But I think through the years we have narrowed the grayscale to a lesser range of hues of gray. Where in that small range of hues of gray is still important because I think that's what gives you your diversity in the world.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we ever want to pinpoint it all the way down to, I guess, what's perfect grays in between black and white? Is that what we're going to call that?
No, I think you're right.
No,
I think what you're saying is right though. You can't and that's where I said like there's very rarely. That's where I said do your best.
Yeah, I think you want to narrow it down
you do
as
your
far
best
as
in
you
that gray
can.
point because you're not right. I'm not right.
Yeah.
It just depends.
But there's definite like chunks of gray and light gray where we can like avoid the fringes. Like,
Right, you can avoid. You can do the best.
I'm
Yeah.
about to nerd out hard as shit. On your Gaussian scale here,
Oh, God.
you want to avoid your tail ends. You only want
The
one or two
tail
standard
end's
deviations.
gonna be good or bad.
Yeah, the tail end could be amazing or absolutely terrible. Yeah.
Right. It's like you just said earlier, like the punch. You can teach someone how to do a jab. You
Right.
can practice it all you want, but if you got zero talent, that
You got zero talent.
jab's ass.
That's
Either
true.
which way.
I think we're both
Whereas
saying
there's other people that just talently,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're on the other side of that Gaussian
Correct.
curve. And they could be on either side of the curve, regardless.
You want to try to avoid that left side though.
But if you say what you say about kids being a blank slate, that means by default they can't be the worst, right? Like they just are nothing, and then you
I
decide
don't
from there
disagree
on.
with you.
You don't think like a kid? You don't think like because I feel like we're not looking at the subtleties of every little thing it is you do to make a kid an asshole or a good person.
But it's not just
Like-
that, right? Like kids are blank slates initially.
That's
So
true.
you fill in those like good, bad,
Right.
don't steal.
Right.
Do community service.
Or just don't lie in general, not good.
Right.
But the kid also is in a complicated, free-flowing system, the big apartment called world. Right?
Yeah, true.
Like as the kid starts to grow and he gets exposed to other outliers, even when you take him to the store, kid, like, you know, you see everything.
Right.
The brain is capturing all these things subconsciously, and like that kid, once you expose them, like I don't know if you kept a kid locked up in like this one environment like the Truman Show, maybe you could get that gray down to a thin line.
True. But you don't think there's a tendency of good parents versus like I think it is formulaic because there is a tendency of good parents and a tendency of bad ones. Like there's things that good parents do that bad parents don't do. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these little subtleties because there's like a tendency with that. Like, I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule where you could have the most, like, well-meaning, strict, but also emotionally intelligent parents that still produce a piece of shit kid. It's possible, I believe that, but I feel like the formula is refined enough to where you could still produce like 98% outcome, 99% outcome.
That exact thought is what stemmed my entire conversation for this.
Right.
I was like, yes, we're never going to nail the 100% efficiency, but you can do better, at least a couple percentage points in the right direction.
Right. I agree with that.
You'll never nail the perfect middle ground.
Right.
Which kind of would be boring as shit if you did.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think you bring those tail ends in a little bit towards the middle.
Yeah, and you can't be perfect because you're not perfect. So you can't be perfect for your kid.
But you get rid of, like, like the people like, Charles Manson raising a kid or like, Hitler raising a kid.
Right.
You eliminate those tail ends and kind of bring it in a little bit to the more normal amounts.
A side quick question on that. Do you think their kids would be terrible?
Probably.
Really?
I think they would be extremely intelligent, but they would be like manipulative to a fault.
Probably, maybe, or maybe they, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just, that's an interesting thought experiment. Like, what would the kids of like Stalin and all of them be like? Well, Stalin did have kids, didn't he?
Probably.
I think it depends.
They probably all did, but I think Hitler's kid. I think Hitler would be like the equivalent of like the rich dad who's never there. Because he's not like, Third Reichen, house saluting and all that
His
shit.
kid now suffers from affluenza.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe
Too much affluency.
His kid's not like an Instagram star.
Yeah, because I feel like bad people could produce good kids and good people could produce bad. So
True.
Yeah, no, the same thing. Yeah,
you
could be in a shit situation and you just rise above
super
it.
drug dealing, terrible dad on the streets could be a fantastic father at home. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
Oh no, even it could be a shitty dad. Like,
and the kid just comes out good.
And the kid still comes out good.
Right.
It's just like, I see all the negative shit that this person's doing. I don't agree with it. I'm gonna not do that.
Yeah. But it maybe comes because, like I said, the kid knows that there's greener pastures.
Right, that kid understands.
So like, if you enclose a kid though, like I said,
and then do that,
like,
the kid's screwed.
The kid's screwed, yeah.
Because the kid can't know.
Because the kid, there's no more inputs to like cause chaos to be able to like cause that anomaly.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, I think everybody got a point here, and I think that like going along the same lines, I feel like there's a formula. And Nate's right that it can't be 100% right because there is no perfect person, but I think
you can steer it.
You can steer it, yeah. Like you can bring
you get pretty okay. I think you get 70%.
Right, like
let's say now we're at like 30. I think we could bump it to like 50.
we could bump it even higher. I think
we could, but I think that's kind of what I'm not talking about. Like 70% switches here. I'm talking like 10-20% switches.
Yeah, you can do that for sure. I think you can do that for sure.
Like, get rid of those people who are like doing weird shit on the side.
Like I saw
furries. No,
furries are cool people. No, I saw this one person who was
Black Mike for all people.
Not all people. I saw this one chick who was protesting vaccines, and she had on like an anti-vax shirt, and she was sitting on a bench next to her son, and she was smoking a cigarette, and I was just sitting there looking at her like,
that kind of shit.
What are you doing? Your son's gonna die.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
Maybe that kid grows up to be impervious.
Nah.
Have you heard of the Illuminati?
Oh my god.
How many pops?
I'm gonna throw you off this flat earth.
Ravioli, show me the formula.
Yeah.
Also, side note, I don't actually believe the earth is flat.
And neither do I.
That's the lie they tell
support
you.
the Illuminati.
But as soon as we turn this podcast off, they're gonna be preaching from the top, talking about how they saw the edge of the earth last weekend. I know these dudes.
Nah.
Listen, flat earthers are good people, all right?
As like I'm swinging through the window like SWAT. Who said it's flat? Shit ain't flat. You flat.
Yeah, I guess that's a good conversation, though. Like, I think that it's technique. It's all in the wrist.
Don't sweat the technique.
Don't sweat the technique.
It's all in the hips.
And on that note,
we'll catch you guys next week.
Wait, I think
hold
on.
I'll finalize.
Before we take off, for those of us listening out there, if you are parents, one thing that I would throw out there just as a word of advice, kids are definitely smarter than you give them credit for, regardless of what age they are. When they talk to you, I know sometimes it might be a lot of bullshit, but still listen, because just like you can still learn things from them just like they learn things from you.
The thought may be there, but the words coming out may suck.
Yeah.
And that's Nate. It has been another episode of the Pumpernickel Podcast.
Don't forget to follow us
on Twitter
at Pumpernickel
Pod,
Mm-hmm.
aka Mr. Pumpernickel P Podcast.
Exactly. You could also email us if you've got any topics you would want to bring up.
Please do.
Please do.
Podcast@gmail.com.
And YouTube us, Google us.
Yeah,
Pumpernickel
YouTube.
Podcast.
The YouTube's up. The YouTube logo is fire. Shout out to Nate.
Thank you very
Website is rolling.
It is. It's working.
It is, yeah. We're just working on the last little bits. I'm getting some more information from Nate, and that should be good. But other than that, yeah, I think things are coming along.
Yeah, if you have any topics you want us to discuss, we're happy to talk about whatever you want. What's on your mind? What any sort of things we've missed in the past. Obviously, we're not parents, so we probably
Right. So we prefaced all of this with the fact that we ain't got no goddamn kids.
Asterisk.
Yeah, right.
yeah, kind of like the Barry Bonds record.
Right. At the end of the day. But what do we tell you from the start of this podcast? None of it's gonna make sense because we ain't got no kids.
Yeah.
That's the logo.
Yeah. So if you have kids or you have more insight than we do, which is any,
Odds are.
odds are it's any, drop us a line.
Yeah, we
So
are.
tell us where we're wrong. We're happy to bring it up and discuss it again.
We are amenable to learning new intel.
Man, this man with the SAT vocab, bro.
What was that word?
Amenable, yeah.
That sounds made up.
It's not.
Open.
Or amenable, yeah.
Wow. I am the stupidest.
And that's it for this week, y'all.
Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, folks.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy
Oh,
your
yeah.
Labor Day
Hey,
weekend.
drink responsibly.
Hey, Dos Equis over here.